Hey, Chris.
Hey, good morning. A few technical difficulties this morning.
Are we the only two so far?
Well, that's what it looks like. So I hear you got your shot yesterday or the day before.
Yes.
Good for you.
How about you?
Yeah, I'm on my last one on Tuesday.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, so
And Beth?
she actually got in on the healthcare workers group because she still
Oh,
has a few
wonderful.
people that she meets. So she's all set.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Good, good.
So
I miss her.
yeah. Yeah. It's difficult, you just miss everybody. I talked to Ann Myers yesterday and, Ann's got her struggles, but she loves to hear from people,
Yes, yeah.
and Ellen Leverett, same thing. So yeah, just have to get back to having coffee with each other.
Yeah. I meant to go up and visit Ann yesterday and didn't get around to it. I got to make that effort.
Yeah.
She feels so isolated.
Yeah. So, Deirdre, are you there?
I'm here. Give me a minute. Trying to figure out what I need to do. It's, Zoom. There it is.
Come on,
There
you
we
should be a
are.
champ at this by now.
Yeah. I have too many other things to learn. Oh, let me tell you. I'm trying to write a paper on the extension service and another agency on their strategic plans and how they affect each other and their strengths and their weaknesses. I'm going, okay. So it's kind of interesting, to look at stuff from all angles, I guess. I'm taking that education course I was telling you with Jeff Perry.
Yeah.
And it's all about
that.
So, but the plant behavior class is kicking my butt. You always think you know something.
Yeah.
I know nothing.
Hi, Wilma.
Hey, Chris.
We got it figured out, I guess.
We did. That was so weird.
Oh, did something happen to your original link?
It just
I was
disappeared.
doing a lot of Rotary meeting stuff yesterday, and I might have deleted the link.
Oh.
So I had to recreate it this morning. And
Oh,
luckily,
dear.
Wilma called me because I was working away trying to get some other pieces ready, and I hadn't opened it up. So.
Well, just lucky that Erin emailed because she had not received the link. So I sent the link from yesterday, and then I tried to open it, and I got the message that it wasn't there. So I panicked a little bit and got in touch with Chris.
There you go.
Yeah.
Panic is a good thing first thing on a Saturday.
It helps a lot, really. Panic is it's what keeps you going. It's what keeps you going when plant science is kicking your butt.
This is true. This is very true.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go grab my cup of tea. I'll be right back.
Okay. I'm hoping. Here we go. Some more. I hope everybody gets that message, but they seem to be. That's good.
Yeah. I'll be back. I think I want to get a glass of water.
Okay. Hi, Molly. Hi, Catherine.
Hello.
I guess you got the second of the two desperate messages this morning, which is good.
I guess I did.
Oh.
There we go.
Chris said he was creating some Rotary meetings and accidentally deleted us from his list of Zoom meetings. So that's what happened to the first one.
Well, these things happen.
They do indeed. I like your backdrop. That's from a plant, a nursery, or
it's from a garden at Cooperative Extension in
Voorheesville. Nice. Very nice.
Thank you.
And there's Mike. Yay.
Mike Cash. That name sounds familiar. I'm one of Chris's students.
Aha,
I was his student. He's now my mentor.
that's great.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's our favorite. He's the favorite in our
Awesome
family.
too.
My my daughter also had him as an instructor when she attended Cobleskill. So
Oh, wow.
he's a favorite in our family.
All in the family.
It is. It is.
Sounds like this is a fan club.
It should be. He's awesome.
Yes.
He's pretty amazing.
Mhm.
Oh, there's another Cash there.
Oh, yeah. I got lucky.
Yeah.
Well, I talked to you yesterday and you said you're doing this for today. And I'm like, let's go for it.
Yeah. Well, we will.
Yeah. I'll check back in with you. You don't know if you're on.
I don't want anybody to hear.
We will all mute ourselves once he gets going. So
When I get that, I gotta pick my truck up too, so.
We'll have to pay for
When I get
Let's see.
that, here, and we'll go from there.
it. So, hey, Ralph, I have a drink.
So Wilma, this list you sent me, I couldn't open it. That was,
okay.
so I don't know how many are joining us.
I think we have around 17 now with the two new caches here. So
Yeah.
it'll be a good group.
Woo!
So I assume my brother Mike introduced himself and Vivica, but they're tuning in from Sweden,
Oh, Sweden. Yay.
the southern tip near Malmo.
Wow.
Or right across from Copenhagen.
From what I hear, you guys are the happiest country in the world.
Oh, we're happy.
I had something on NPR about it the other day, that the Nordic countries are the happiest and Sweden is right up there.
Oh, good.
It comes with the territory. That's why I'm here.
Maybe we
Ah.
can go drink some coffee.
Oh, maybe that's true too. Huh?
And Deirdre's joining us. I invited Deirdre. Deirdre taught woody plants at SUNY Cobleskill the last 2 years in kind of my spot. So she's on the venture of getting a degree from Cornell. So
Yay.
Nice.
yeah.
Chris, it's about time somebody replaced you.
You know, people ask me about that and they're like, oh, you're Chris's replacement. I'm like, no, I'm the replacement of the tip of his left shoe. So someday I hope to fill one shoe, but I doubt it.
That's a good one.
When I met Deirdre as a student, her first comment to me was like, what's your objective? Her first comment was, I want your job. She's on her
Well,
way.
good to be honest. And she almost got it there.
Yeah, I thought I'd use 3 samples.
Mm.
So Molly looks like she has her garden behind her, because that can't be for real right now.
No, I wish it was, but no. We're all hungry for the spring to come.
Oh, aren't we though? Woof.
I have a cold frame outside that I uncovered of snow the other day, and I heard my little lettuce and spinach plants go, please leave us buried yet. It's
Yeah.
Figures. You can help on that.
I started to play with the light this morning on my computer because I was very dark, and I'm usually talking to people with without so much light coming in. You don't worry about it because it's been so cloudy in Cobleskill, you know. But, I see the light in back of you, Ann, and it's usually been cloudy, so we can see better.
It's raining here.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pouring.
It is raining here too.
Oh,
Yeah.
keep it.
Are you having a sunny day seriously right now?
We're on the edge of clouds. It's
Okay.
there's still light, you know, so
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, it's pretty much pouring.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
How many of us are there?
I think there should be a total of 17, including, and I've lost your brother there. Chris, do you think he?
Oh,
No.
he's answering a phone call.
Oh, okay.
He'll be back.
So are we waiting for people to join? Or are we?
Yes, we are. You probably noticed this morning that we had a little bit of trouble with our link. So I'm hoping everybody, if they don't get in, will realize that they need to try to check something out. And the nice thing about it is Chris is recording this, so we can have it up on our website with a way to get back in. And if you want to check something out that you didn't quite catch the first time, it'll be there.
Okay. So we're gonna wait until everybody gets here.
And we'll wait a few more minutes. It's what about? It's 4 minutes after. What do you give a dive guy with a PhD 15 minutes? Is that the way it used to be?
Well, I think you may have people who are going to be logging into that invalid account
Yes.
5 or 6 times before they realize, oh, this isn't going to work. I logged in like 4 times, and then I said, well, let me check if there's an email. And then there was. But if you have people who are not Zoom savvy, they could be out in the ozone for a while.
You're right about that. And that's one reason I'm so glad we're taping this, because we can at least get it to them that way after, if nothing else.
So while we're waiting, we could maybe have a little chat. So this presentation, I actually put together for Master Gardeners Group, and did that a month or so ago. And we had it scheduled for an hour, and we ended up going like 2 hours because people had questions, and we just took it slow. And so how long do you want to go? You can leave if you like. That's obviously up to you. But the topic that we're going to, 2 topics we'll cover. One is plant identification, the process I use for identifying plants. And I sent you out a document with a bunch of references and things that maybe you could make some use of sometime. And then a secondary part would be talking about plant communities and ecosystems, and how that you could relate plant communities to your selection of plants for your landscape.
I have a question. When did you send out that document you're talking about? I don't think I received anything.
I'll send it again. I did send it out yesterday, but I'll send it again to everybody. That way you should have it.
So the document I made up essentially mirrors the presentation I'm going to do. So if you missed things or you wanted notes and I forgot, I didn't catch that, it should all be in that document. So does that sound like something that you want to do, or I'm pretty good at winging things and changing as I go.
I defer
Well,
to you.
And you seem to have a great following of people who like the way you do it. So do it your way. You do you.
And if you don't like the way I'm doing it, I'm going to mute you.
You probably
Especially
want to
my
mute us
brother.
anyway.
Yeah, I think you can go ahead and get started. I mean, people can get the recording. So since you went over last time, you'll probably go over this time too. So might as well get started.
So you want me to start?
Yes.
Okay. Let me make sure I have everything up and running. Okay. All right, so nice to see all you folks. Yeah, Wilma?
Yep. Yes.
You had something? Oh, I thought you had something.
No, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get.
If you want to keep your camera on, that's fine. If you want, it's up to you what you want to do. It's easiest if you mute yourself. If you have questions, you can interrupt me. I don't care. I will answer the question or not. There's two ways to ask questions. One is to unmute yourself and just stop me, if you can stop me. And the other is right into the chat area. So if you go to on your Zoom page, on mine, the chat is on the bottom of the page. You could type in your questions. Yeah.
Are you doing slide presentations?
Yes.
Okay, so you're not going to be able to see the chat. You want me to keep an eye on the chat for you? If you share your screen.
Yeah, Deirdre, yeah.
Okay.
If you could do that, that'd be
Yeah.
helpful. And normally what I've done is I'll get a little bit on with the presentation I'm doing, and then we'll stop. And Deirdre, if you can go through the chats and here's a question, here's a question. And that way I don't have to watch them and manage them as much. So does that work? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'll share my screen with you, unless you have questions before we get on a roll here. All right.
Yeah, just a little.
So if you could mute yourself, Deirdre, probably keep yourself unmuted. It's up to you. So screen share. So you should see my first screen slide. That's the title of the presentation. Yes? Okay.
Yes.
We can
so
see it.
What we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of how do you identify plants, and then we'll talk a little bit about how you make decisions of what might work in your garden. It's a fairly simple nature-based method that I like to recommend to people. So the little person there that you see, that little doll, one of my students made of me a few years back. So I think it looks quite a bit like me. Anyway, so here we go. 3 areas that we're going to talk about: plant identification, what references you might use, and how to utilize plants. So the identification part on the left, you're going to have to know structures. So part of learning plants is you have to have a vocabulary. And if you're a novice, the vocabulary is simple. Once you really get into plant identification, vocabulary gets kind of complex. I have a number of references that I'll recommend to you. And where we want you to get at some point is if that's your house on the right side of your picture. how do you make decisions of what plants to put in there? Are those plants appropriate? If that was your house and there was no landscape, maybe you start with a design, or maybe you start with look at nature and what nature's doing around you. So we'll talk about all those. So let's start with plant identification. To identify plants, we need to know terminology. And when we identify plants, we need to know what we're looking at. So we need to understand that we have leaves, we have flowers. All plants have flowers. So I don't know if you know what that plant is, but that's a red maple. Red maples will be blooming here in the next 3 weeks. That's what you're looking for. These are vegetative buds, leaf buds on red maple. You have bark of red maple and you have wings of red maple. And actually, when I look at that wing, I call them whirligigs, call them helicopters, but they had a technical name of Samara. Use whatever term you want, but that's actually a Norway maple. And how do I know that's a Norway maple? Because it's so wide open. Red maple are closed. So simple things. And what I like to have people learn is simple things. So here's simple. You have to know the simple terms to identify plants. So we have leaf and bud arrangement. Twig, we have buds. For every single leaf, there's a bud. So we have opposite leaves and opposite buds. We have alternate, so opposite, and alternate. We have what are called whorled, more than 3 buds at one spot. And then we have this kind of unusual little piece of subopposite, kind of opposite, but not really. And that one little piece, if you see that on a plant, that's a Katsura tree. If it's a tree, you don't need the rest of the tree. The fun thing about this is if I had a macro zoom lens, I might be able to look at one structure and identify it, and that's a Katsura tree. There are other plants that might have that, but that could be a start. This is a leaf, and so is this, if you can see my cursor going around. A leaf, if there's a bud at the base of that structure, that's a leaf. But if the bud is down here, let's see if I can mark it. If the bud is down here, that entire structure is a leaf. If the bud is here, that is a leaf. So we need to know what's a leaf and what's not a leaf. This is a compound leaf, and these are simple leaves. Opposite buds, terminal buds. For every leaf, whenever something breaks off of a plant, falls off of a plant, it leaves a mark, and that's called a scar. So when a branch falls off of a tree, well, I guess that's a branch scar. When a leaf falls off of a twig, that's a leaf scar. And the leaf scars have little tiny bundles that go into them that are the food conducting and water conducting system. And those are called bundle scars. All of those help you identify plants. Now, what do we do when we get to the stage of actually identifying? At the stage of identifying, there's two ways of collecting information. One, you collect facts, and the facts are, I need buds, I need leaves, I need flowers, I need bark, I need all of those things. But the other way of processing what it is those of you that are very good at first impressions. I see this structure and I see a vase, like a flower vase. Well, that's got to be an elm tree. From a mile away, I know it's an elm tree because it's an upright V. What color is it? Well, color doesn't come very well in words. That is moderate to a dark green, but your brain processes it as a hue or a value. It processes by texture. So what I like to tell students is when you go out and you try to identify things, the first thing to do is stand back and just capture it as a picture in your mind. And one side of your brain is going to process things for creativity and color and texture. The other part of your brain does facts very well. So we take the one side of creativity and capture a picture, and then we blend that with, what are the facts? Does it have pointed buds? Does it have opposite buds? Now we have all the information and we can identify it. Maybe. So we collect that information. One of the information collection techniques that people have for working with plants is taking pictures. From my experience as a teacher, taking pictures is probably the least helpful. Physical identification, where you engage yourself, you go out into nature and you engage yourself. First thing you do is you get a snapshot picture of it. I'm like, what's that look like? Does it look like a vase? What's it look like? And then you engage all of your senses. If you collect a branch of a spruce tree and you crush it, it's a very pungent odor. If you get a branch of a balsam fir, it smells like Christmas. You might say it smells like balsam fir, but you engage everything. So touch it, because your fingers are going to feel, is a leaf thick or is it thin? Is it rough? You're doing a 3D evaluation, and you're actually using all your senses. And when you look at a plant, your eyes will take a broad snapshot of it, but your eye also focuses in very quickly on tinier information, whereas a camera does not do that. The camera captures a blank 2D presentation, and then you have to take a second picture that magnifies it. And then you take the camera and you take it home and you try to figure out, what the heck did I take a picture of? Whereas your brain will process it faster. The problem with your brain is we forget stuff. So the digital can help you. The physical will help you engage with nature and learn it fairly quickly when you go outside the next time. One of the things that you might want to do is, once I get fairly good at plants, or maybe I'm not so good at plants yet, I can make myself flashcards. And this is a fairly easy way to make flashcards. We get shipping tape, we get an index card, a larger index card, or something of heavy composition. And then we collect our twigs, maybe buds, leaves, and we simply lay them down and we tape over them. And on the back, we can put the name, we can put where we got it, we can put a lot of information. And the good thing about this is that color stays there for a long time. Many people that have done botanical collections will dry them, they lose their color, they get brittle. This works very well, and it's simple. And it's a way to quiz yourself over time with just these simple cards. When I went to school, we didn't have the digital camera, and my professor had us do leaf prints. Leaf prints are done by artists, they're done by casual learners, but the really neat thing about doing leaf prints. So here's a way to do a leaf print. Get a large ink pad, your leaf, and index cards or some other type of paper to press onto. Simply take the leaf, press it into the ink pad, and then transfer that ink to a piece of paper. And when I took the Woody's class, our professor graded these on how good the transfer was. We had to get every little tooth on the edge of the leaf. And the process of taking my fingers and pressing that leaf to a piece of paper and making sure I got every single edge, I learned so much by just the physical dexterity and hand memory and eye memory of doing that, that I learned a lot of plants simply by, I know if it's a winterberry holly, it's going to have a very fine sawtooth edge. And I don't need more than that. I just need that. So the engaging of yourself with learning. Now, how do we identify it? I've got all this digital pictures. I've got pieces of bark. I have leaves. Well, how do you become really proficient at using the computer? You ask someone. You're never quite sure what you have until you have it verified from someone. So if you make all those flashcards and you don't know what they are, find someone, find me and say, Chris, can you identify these for me? And that normally is the fastest and the best way, unless you really like to spend a lot of time going piece by piece by piece. Or you get your name figured out and then you get it verified by somebody else. So ask someone's the quickest, but we all need validation. We all need to know that I got it right. So ask someone, even for me, if I don't know what it is, I'm going to call a friend, Jim Bates. I might call Deirdre and say, what do you think this is? Browse through pictures. Take your picture book. And if you have your picture book with a lot of plants, just go page to page to page until you see something that looks like what you want. Drawings. I am a fan of line drawings. Botanists of years ago, before you had really good cameras and you had color, did everything in black and white with lines. Line drawings give you very good detail. So if you really want to be sure of what it is, you need a line drawing. And then you just do a matching. Here's my plant. Here's the leaf. How do I match them up? So then we have references. And we'll go through some of the references and you'll have multiple references. So here's some of the things that you want you to use. You need color pictures, whether they're on the internet or whether in the book. You need color pictures, again, for the fall color, the bark colors, the hues, the values that you have in the plant. Line drawings, you've heard me just mention line drawings. Line drawings are extremely valuable for getting the detail. And then you need written descriptions because you might decide this plant that I collected is this. And then you go to a book like the Manual of Woody Landscape Plants by Michael Durr and you read about it and you find out you're totally wrong or you're totally right. So the totally right is awesome because now I'm like, I got it. Let's be excited and go on with that. So color, line drawings, written descriptions. So here's some of the things that you may want to look for in some of the books. The book Trees and Shrubs by Vertile. If you look in the top left corner, you'll see the book set up like what we call a key. I page through the book and I know my plant is alternate. The leaves on the plant, the buds on our plant are alternate. They're simple, they're not compound, and they have lobes. So I just open to that section and then I look for the pictures that match what I have in my hands. The same thing with the second book, Illustrated Guide to Trees and Shrubs.
Oh, he froze. Hang on, well, let's see if it comes back. There he is. So Chris, you just froze. So whatever you said, when you turn to this slide, nobody heard it.
Oh, okay. I just got a note. It said on internet unstable. Anyway, on this slide, we have a book where we have in the upper left-hand corner, we have a description of alternate leaves, simple leaves, and lobed. So I have a book that has all kinds of plants in it, but when I open it, because I know the vocabulary, I go to the section where I look at what pieces I have. Was it alternate or opposite? Were the leaves compound or simple? And they lobed, and then I just look at the pictures and I identify by pictures. This is one of my favorite books as a reference. Maybe I'll switch cameras here and go to something else.
Chris, just so you're aware, that book recently went out of print.
Yep.
So.
Well, that's not where I wanted to be. Anyway, let me try this again. Oh, it's not coming up. Oh, stop sharing. There we are. So you can see just me? Yes? Deirdre, I can't hear you.
Yes, we can hear just you, and
We can, yeah, sorry. Chris, yeah. Okay, now, but it's not real close to the camera.
All right. Speak with you. All right, so this is the trees of northern United States and Canada. You can see that, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So trees of northern United States and Canada, I'm going to take the cover off. What I really like about it, and it's just an example of a book that you could use, is on the inside, it goes through group 1, needled, evergreen, needles. So we're on the evergreen side here. These are plants that lose their leaves, deciduous plants. And then along the border, there's an index here. So if I want to find a group 8 leaves that are, or group 7, leaves fan-shaped, I go to the tab on the side for group 7. And there's really only one plant in group 7, and that's a ginkgo. So the nice thing about that was I have a book with many, many, many plants on it, but because it's sectioned out into sections of plant identification features, that takes me right to a page. And then on the page, I have line drawings. I have, in most cases, let's go to a different one. Let's take an oak, swamp white oak. Those of you that use birding books, they have ranges that the birds exist.
And he froze again. We'll give him a minute.
Get the hues and the
There he
nice
is.
about books like these.
You froze again.
So what's really nice about this book, you have range, you have line drawings, you have color pictures. If you can't get that all in one book, find books that will give you all of those things. So I like this book also because it'll fit in a backpack. So if I'm out in the field, it's a little heavy because I think it only comes in a hardcover, but it really does the job. And then when we have things like this, do you know what that is? Got sharp pointed buds. Holds its leaves in winter in a lot of cases. It's an American beech. If we have a plant like that, I have alternate, I have parallel veins, all those things can show up. So here's a few. I don't know if you can see that. Anybody know what that evergreen is on that side?
White pine.
5-needle pine, a white pine. So pine trees all come with needles and clusters. And this one on this side is a spruce. And how do I know it's a spruce? Well, my best ID feature is I close my eyes and I squeeze it really hard and I go, ow, because it bites. Your spruce trees bite. Okay. So Mike Cash, what kind of trees do you have in your neighborhood? My brother Mike lives in Sweden. Do you have spruce trees in your neighborhood?
We do have spruce trees. A lot of them, actually. What's the other one we have?
Oh, we have maple. We have German maple, it's called. And we have
But what we use for harvesting?
Hollander, or yeah, Hollander. Is that what you call it? Hollander bush? Hollander.
I don't know.
Oh no, elderberry. Elderberry.
Oh, elderberries. Yeah.
Yes, elderberry
So
bush.
Mike and Vivica are coming from Sweden, so we have a little input from there. So my brother Mike will call me for identification of plants in Sweden, and sometimes I go, I don't know, and then I get it right sometimes. So
You always do.
You always get it right.
You're always right.
My trusted source.
all right, so here's another plant for you to identify. Can you see those? This is a birch. And how do I know birch? Birch have what are called catkins. And birch have, the catkins are actually the male flowers. And this plant is a paper birch. It's got catkins in 3s. And this is a gray birch, has catkins that are single. Both of those are white birch. But the way I know the difference between those white barked birches is the number of catkins. Don't need the rest of the plant, but the rest of the plant is helpful. There's one more. One of the first plants to bloom in the year is this one. Anybody know the first plant to bloom in the year? One of the first. And it blooms for a long time. And then this one, sharp pointed buds, which I don't know if you can see. Pencil point bud. This one identify opposite buds, and I put my finger on it and I go, ow, because it's sharp as a pencil point. So the sharp as a pencil point one is sugar maple. In fact, I'm going to go out and tap my trees today to collect some maple syrup. So sugar maple, all I need to do is like, ow. Red maple, there we go. One of the first ones to bloom in the year. So if you've got red maples in your yard, they should start to swell up in the next couple of weeks, and they'll come out with red flowers. And red maple gets its name from its red flowers, not from its fall color. But we look for, when I taught woody plants, I could teach that.
You're frozen.
Yeah, he's frozen.
Understood clumpy buds, aggregate.
Chris, when you taught woody plants, what happened?
Maple sharp pointed buds.
Chris, when you taught woody plants, what happened?
I would use terms like you teach in college, you would teach the botanic terms of aggregated buds, or for the general purpose learning, clumpy buds. Which would you rather learn, aggregated buds or clumpy buds? If you talk to botanists, botanists will probably talk in terms that you may not understand because their language and vocabulary is so different to identify the plants. All right, I think we'll go back to, do we have questions I could answer?
Nothing yet. Does anybody have a question? You can either pop it in the chat or open up your microphone and.
Okay.
I was wondering when you talked about fan-shaped leaves, is that the same as palmate? Is that another word for that?
So
Or no?
I forget what the word for fan shaped is. So a fan is palmate and fan shaped would be the same thing. So palmate refers to, from a definition point, all of the veins radiating from one central point at the base. So my palm is here, but the veins are radiating up like that. I'm going to switch my camera to a different camera.
Thank you.
So you could have palmate veins on a sugar maple because they all radiate up from the base, but you also have palmate veins on a ginkgo, and ginkgo are very strongly parallel. On a ginkgo, there's another term for it. I want to say it's dichotomous, but that's not it.
No, I think it is.
Is it?
I think you're right, yeah.
As dichotomous.
Dichotomous.
Anything else?
Not yet.
Okay.
I think they're waiting for the end.
All right. So for those people that really are fairly good at plants, using what are called keys are probably the position that you would come from. Once you have the vocabulary down, you would literally go to a book that has a written key. And the problem with the written key is you go through it and you get down, and let's say you find that the plant is a green ash. Don't believe you got it right. Go to a book like Michael Durr's Woody Plant Manual. Go to a book on ashes and read about the ash. And I'd say for plant students I taught use of keys, they were right only about 60% of the time. The key gets you down to identifying what it might be, but you need to validate your answer. All right, so now we'll go to online references. So here's a couple that are kind of fun. Know Your Trees is a very simple, if you're a novice, probably print this out.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll click on Know Your Trees. In the handout that I supplied you, all the links are live, so you should be able to click on these. And here's Know Your Trees. Has a ruler in the beginning, has the terms, and then it has a key, the 50 most common trees. It's a simple key. As long as you know the words and the vocabulary, you'll be good. And then here's your description of the plant. So here's a black ash. So you might go through the key, or you might just page through the pictures to find a picture of a plant that you think you might have. And pretty simple. Pretty simple. Know Your Trees. And then the Go Botany site. The Go Botany site, I think, is probably one of the most useful sites. So the Go Botany site works like a key. This is a woody plants group. Broadleaf plants and needled. So I can select, do I have a tree that's got wide leaves, or do I have trees that are needled? And then it has a question and answer area, or let's just go to red maple, and here's red maple. There's the flower on red maple. So here's a red maple. There's your range. Red maple has red samaras that turn brown. Whoops. Whoops. There we go. Huh. Hopefully I can get back. There's the buds. And this is what you'll see in a few weeks. Red maple has male flowers and female flowers on separate plants. There's the male with the stamens. So fun. For those of you that are photographers, a macro lens or an ability to get close up is really great. Red maple has red leaves, but it can also have yellow leaves. So Go Botany. that would work for you in Sweden, or it would work for Wisconsin. It would work for Michigan. It would work for wherever they have the plants located in this GoBotany page. The next would be apps. I've been asked a number of times of what do I think of apps. And the app, you take a picture of the plant, picture of the leaf, and hopefully the app will tell you what it is. I don't use an app because I know most of the plants, so I don't need help. And most of the apps don't have things that I don't know. They only have common things. The other part that I've experienced with students is they'll come in, they'll be excited about an app, and they'll be wrong 50% of the time. Apps generally, from my understanding, work on geometrical and mathematical comparisons. So it's not really, here is a leaf of a sugar maple, here's the geometric shape of it, the mathematical shape of it. So if you get that picture wrong, it's going to come up with the wrong name. Not that they're bad, but you need to validate what you have. If I got an answer from an app, I would not trust it. I trust going and finding the actual information later. But it's fun. So you want to have fun. And fun is, no, that's wrong. So I can use an app if I want to feel good about myself because app's wrong, I'm right. The Northern Forest Atlas, these are probably the most exceptional pictures I've found of trees, leaves, and buds. Just click on the page for the Northern Atlas, book by Jerry Jenkins, I believe through Cornell. They have some outstanding charts. I don't know if I can bring them up. But you can purchase these charts or buy them online. If you zoom in on these, you're going to see the little tiny hairs on the buds, or the little tiny, the digital ability on these is amazing. I can't show it right now, but I have these images downloaded, and you can download them right from the site. And literally, if I've got an oak tree, I can go and look at the individual scales on the buds and the hairs on the scales. The pictures are that good. So Northern Forest is really, it's a great, great site for pictures. All right, we'll move on. The next is use catalogs. So one of my favorite catalogs to use is Spring Meadow Nurseries. Oh, I spelled trademark wrong at the bottom. Spring Meadow Nurseries. Spring Meadow is a nursery in Michigan. They produce a lot of the plants that you'll buy from garden centers today. So Spring Meadow produces the little tiny babies from cuttings that go to nurseries, and then nurseries then produce them. So the Spring Meadow catalog is actually on their wholesale site. Nobody said you can't go to a wholesale site. Go to a wholesale nursery site. If you go to a garden store, look at the tag on it. It's got a name of a nursery on it. Click on the name of that nursery, and you may be able to find their catalog. So the great thing about the catalogs is, so here's Spring Meadow's catalog. What are we looking at? We're looking at clematis. And the neat thing about Spring Meadows catalog is Spring Meadows is one of the major producers for what we call proven winner plants. It's a trademark name. They have the trendiest, the newest products. So I can literally go on Spring Meadows page and look at, oh, I found this plant at the garden store, and it's got this real name on it called Diamond Ball. I can look up the information about Diamond Ball right from Spring Meadows page. And I can find pictures, I can find what I should be able to find, or if I find something that I really want for my garden, I can go to the garden center operator, I can go to the employee and say, can you get this for me? Can you see if you can acquire this plant? When they might shop for, let's say, what are we going to sell at the Landis Arboretum plant sale? The neat thing about catalogs is I can shop. I may not be able to get it, but I can get excited about what plants are there. Those of us that are getting ready for planting our tomatoes and our peppers is like, give me the catalog. I really liked Spring Meadows product. All right, very quickly, plant names. We're going to go through very quick presentation on plant names. All plants have two names. On this page, these are all red maples. So a red maple in Germany, a red maple in Japan, a red maple in China, a red maple in South America or Cobleskill, New York is not the same thing. But an Acer rubrum, the scientific name, Acer is maple, rubrum is red, is the same whether you're in Japan or England or Sweden or the United States. It's the same Latinized name. See these two trees? Red leaves, yellow leaves, both of those are red maples. Red maples don't have to have red fall color, but those both are Acer rubrum because of the flowers, the fruits, the seeds, the bark, the leaves. This is a plant known as Crimson King maple. Many people call it red maple. This is a Japanese maple, not a red maple. And this is a flowering maple that's not a maple at all, but it has leaves that are shaped a little like a red maple. So scientific names are important to understand. Now we'll go through some of the scientific variations. Acer is maple. Acer rubrum's red maple. We have varieties, and varieties occur naturally in nature. So if I find one that's vibrant, maybe somebody named it Acer rubrum vibrans, because I can find it in nature. It's not the primary red maple, but there's a few of these that are vibrant. I pick one of those, I go through the woods and I'm like, wow, this one vibrant red maple is upright. So I collect it and I take cuttings of it and I give that a cultivar name. And the cultivar name, maybe I give it is Red Sentinel. Quotes, Red Sentinel. So every Red Sentinel I find is going to be upright, vibrant, and red. Naturally occurring, I gave it a name. And then we have something that's really confused our industry. We have trademarks. When somebody wants to sell something, they may not like the name Red Sentinel, so they come up with a name Brightpoint, and they copyright or they trademark the name. A Brightpoint is a Red Sentinel. So trademarks are simply where you see the trademark name or the copyright name, they're simply advertising names. And they can be, when you advertise, you use whatever you want for the plant. So trademarks can be a problem, but that's some of the names. And then we have hybrids. We have naturally occurring hybrids of red maple and silver maple. And we have something called a Freeman maple. So Freeman is, you have your 3 points, you have slight division, and it's in between the silver and red. How do I know it's a Freeman by the name? The X. If I see Acer X Freeman I know I have a hybrid. And then somebody could come along and put a cultivar name on that, Autumn Blaze. So this actually is a plant. Acer X Freeman I Jeffers Red is a variety, and then a nursery put the name Autumn Blaze on it. Same plant, Jeffers Red or Autumn Blaze. I think we're just about the end of the ID part. This is a page out of Spring Meadows catalog that goes through Ilex verticillata is natively occurring winterberry holly that you'll find around here, around Cobleskill in the swampy areas. Bright red berries on it right now. The variety name I don't even know the variety name on this, but it's got a cultivar name of Faro Pop. Faro Pop is the same as Berry Poppins. So that's what we have for now on plant identification. We could take some questions.
Okay, all right. How are you doing? You know.
Want to take some questions or just finish up?
I'm answering a question in the chat, Chris, about the maples that you showed in that slide. The genus is Acer, but then you have different species names. That would be the second portion of the name that you were talking about. So like Acer rubrum is your red maple, and the upright red leafed plant that you showed is the Crimson King, which is actually a Platanoides, which is a Norway maple. So someone was asking
Can I
about
interrupt you
that.
1 second?
Go ahead, Ruth.
Someone does not have their device muted, so we're hearing everything that's going on in your house. So if we could have one person speak at a time and the rest of us be muted, then everybody can hear Deidre or Chris. Thanks.
Thanks, Ruth. So the Crimson King that Chris pointed out is actually a red-leafed Norway maple. And then the short one, do you know the low-growing palmatum that you showed? Do you know the cultivar name on that, Chris?
Yeah, so red maples don't all have the same scientific name. That you have to understand. Red maples don't all have the same scientific name. So Crimson King maple is a Norway maple, which again is a common name. So a Crimson King maple is Acer platanoides Crimson King. The low spreading Japanese maple is Acer palmatum Crimson Queen. So scientific names, if you're looking to buy a plant, or let's say I have a landscape design that somebody's done for me, you do not want to see on the landscape design the word red maple that goes out for a contract bid, because somebody could deliver you a flowering maple, a Japanese maple, a Norway maple. If it says Acer palmatum Crimson Queen, you get a Crimson King Queen Japanese maple. You get exactly what you want. When you put common names on there within a contract, they can deliver whatever they want. It could be a red board that they call red maple. Scientific names are pretty important. Genus is Acer.
Yeah, I made a couple of grammatical errors in there. Right. I was typing too fast.
All right. Anything else?
Chris, would you feel comfortable sharing this PowerPoint with us as a file?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yep. Okay, if you want, send it to me and I'll send it out to everyone.
Yeah, so I'll send it as a PDF.
Yep.
And then all the links should be active on that PDF. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, thank you.
All right, so we went, we're getting close to an hour. Do you want to take like a 5-10 minute break? Maybe a 5-minute break? I can't hear you, Wilma.
Sure, I'm good with that.
If you need a break, you can take one. Chris, the only other thing that I would love you to talk about a little bit more is reading the environment you have to decide what's going to make it and what won't.
Yeah, so that's where we'll finish up. We'll do that next piece in 5 minutes. So we'll take a little 5-minute break, come back at 11 o'clock, it looks like, something like that. Or we can stay here and chat.
I'm going to go make a cup of tea. I'm thirsty listening to you talk. So on the Japanese maples there, Chris, what determines the uprightness or the cascade to the branching? Do you know?
It's usually how dissected if you look at a Japanese maple that's got dissected leaves, the branches
Yeah.
are also dissected. So when
See,
they
that's
get
what I wondered. Okay.
when they get dissected, there's more weight to the branches,
Okay.
and the branches are thinner. So yeah, I think my observation is most of the standard Acer palmatums are more upright.
Upright. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's, after pruning them all these years, I look at it and I go, I wonder if I'm on the right track with the thinking there. So that's a question I'm going to pose in that behavior class.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, bye, Mike. It was nice meeting you guys.
Hey, Chris.
Yep, thanks, Chris. We got to run. I got a couple phone calls that came in I got to get back to.
All right. Well, it was good to see you guys yesterday, and thanks for joining.
Yep.
It's always fun.
Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, I'm going to go turn my tea water on. I'll be right back. Chris, can you suggest any used book sites maybe that would show that the tree book that you like that has the line drawings and the photographs? Can you think of any used? I suggested Catnip Books down in town too. They've really done well by me. No, you need to turn your mic on, dude. Someone mentioned the fact that there was one on Amazon for $116 with free shipping. I'm that's like way expensive. I don't remember it being that much brand new. I didn't think so.
I had no idea Catnap Books had field guides.
They have quite, you know, I actually bought the Durr book from them. I've increased my volume of books, just the Michael Durr books, because that book is, you know, this thick and weighs about 15, 20 pounds from the feel of it, carrying it in your backpack, you know. But you know, 15, 20 bucks on some of those, but they're not the current edition. But it works for the course that we teach at Cobleskill, for them to have a not current edition, you know, because of the plants that we're working with. So, but I every time I go in, I look through their inventory to see what they have, and I really peruse hard. And then I've you know, now started a relationship with the owners there, and they're fantastic. You know, I'll tell them what I'm looking for, and they keep an eye out, and when they get it, they give me a call. So that might be a way to get with them on that. And I imagine even at the book sale, I was at the Landis Arboretum book sale, and boy, they had some pretty good books for sale there. And you know, with the plant material stuff, and I actually missed out on a couple of good books. I saw people walking around with it. So Chris, what do you think? What's
more in?
Oh, good, good. Yeah, when people donate, because some of these books that go out of print, they're so hard to find. But if someone passes and then donates that library to somebody like Landis, that's heaven sent. Heaven sent. So that's what I told my daughter to do. You know, donate it to somebody that's going to have a good book sale and they can make some money on it, you know, a nonprofit. Because I have, you know, 1 or 2 garden books.
So are we about ready to start up?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so we'll return the questions about books. My favorite place to buy books, because I'm frugal, are old bookstores. Cooperstown's bookstore is exceptional. Catnap Books in Cobleskill, old bookstores. Over the years, you know, their dollar tables always have plant books on them.
Mm-hmm.
And whether they're a known plant book or an unknown plant book, if I open it and it interests me, and the price is right, I acquired it. The interesting thing for me right now is when I retired 2 years ago, I gave away all of my books. Trying to put the presentation together, I'm like, I can't even get a picture of the book anymore because I don't have it. The book that I recommend, the Farrar book, I don't know that I've seen it in many old bookstores, but you have other things besides the Farrar book. There's tons of field guides, Peterson's field guides. There's just a whole lot of them. And the list I gave you in your, as a handout I think it's a pretty good list, but there's a lot of older books on there. The one book that, see if I put it on here. There's one book that the identification of shrubs is very difficult. Shrubs can be challenging. So there's two series older books by George Simons. One is the tree identification book and the other is the shrub identification book. And what I like about the Simons books is they're commonly found in old bookstores, and the shrub book especially has black and white pictures, and the book is arranged by opposite alternate world. There are bark pictures, there are bud pictures, and there's leaf pictures, and there's fruits. So that combination of black and white, especially at this time of year in the winter, the Simons books are very good, and I gave both of mine away. So, but I'm sure I could re-find them. But if you can't find, let's say, the Farrar book, don't just get stuck on finding that one. There's a, what's the name, Selig? No, I don't have it on here. Anyway, that's what I would recommend. Just the newer books tend to sell because they have color. And color doesn't cut it for me when I'm trying to identify. So black and white and line drawings, which you'll find in older books. All right, I think we'll go on and we'll finish